What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another WNBA video. We have ourselves a 3-game slate to dive into for today, Saturday, August 23rd. So we're going to break down and analyze each of those games. I'm going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. And then when it's all said and done, don't forget to check down there into that pinned comment. You'll find a link down there that's going to send you over to the Guy Boston Sports website. So we're going to find all of my final plays for these games listed for free. Now, before we dive into these games, let's go ahead and jump over there to the website. We need to take a look back at both Thursday and Friday. Let's see what we took then and how those ended up going down. We'll scroll on down. Well, let's look at Thursday first, man. We took the Mystics on the money line. They do not cash out for us. They lose 2 in a row to the Sun. We'll talk about that here in a few, man. Then we took Asia Wilson, leading scorer of the game, and that was a cash. Took Nafisha Collier over 17.5 points. She does not end up playing in this one, so that one was a push. And we took the Dream on the money line. Took this live, right? I talked about it in the video. I did like the Dream in this one. We didn't end up pulling the trigger. We ended up taking a live, man. I caught them at plus 130, and I think they were only down by 4 points at the time. So I was really surprised that DraftKings had it at plus money still. They were looking good in the game. I smashed it, man, and they do end up taking that one. So we go, 2-1-1 on Thursday. Then on Friday, we get a couple more pushes, man, because I went ahead and tried to play Nafisha Collier on the points again. I do like this one, and when she does end up coming back, we will be smashing her points. But I took her over 4.5 first quarter points at plus money and then over 18.5 points as well. Split a unit up on that one. They both push. Obviously, she did not play. Took the Mercury laying 2.5 points, half unit on that one. We do cash. Took Veronica Burton over 11.5 points. She lands at 11, so we lose that one on the hook. And then we took the Storm and the Wings total under 170.5, and that was a cash. So 2-1 and 2 on Friday. So we don't make a ton of money on either of those days, but we don't lose any money either. That is the, that's the goal end of the day, right? So let's see what kind of value we can find on the board for today. Let's see if we can make some money here today. I hope you guys have made some money as well this week, man. But let's see what we can do with this 3-game slate here, guys. Smash that like button down there for me if you can. Hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's get into it, man. 2 p.m. tip-off time for our first game. New York Liberty, Atlanta Dream. We're just going to start with the injury report in this one, man, because it's not looking pretty for New York, man. Stewie, Sabley, and Izzy Harrison are all still out. Now Sabrina Ionescu is questionable with an ankle injury that she suffered in her loss to Chicago after Camila Cardoso landed awkwardly on her. Jordan Canada is going to remain out for Atlanta with that hamstring injury that she's been dealing with. Now, these teams will meet here for the 4th time this year, with New York winning the first and last meetings at home, and the Dream taking the second head-to-head between these two in Atlanta. Atlanta is now 23-13, 21-14 and 1 against the spread. They're 11-5 when playing at home, 9-7 to the number in those home games. The Dream have won 8 of their last 10. They've covered in 7 of those 10. New York, they're 22-14, but they're just 13-21 and 1 against the spread. Liberty have also struggled mightily on the road, man. They've gone just 8-9 straight up, only 3-13 and 1 to the number in those games. So, I mean, that's horrible, right? You've only covered in 3 of your 17 road games. They lost outright to the Sky as a 15-point favorite. And man, check these numbers out. And when coming into a game after losing as a double-digit favorite, the Liberty are 0-3 to the number. And then as a dog this year, just straight up as a dog this season, they've gone 0-6 straight up, 0-5 and 1 to the number, and they've lost those games by an average of 8 points. So if they're not favored in a game, man, they're getting crushed. That's been the trend so far this season. You look at those trends, you look at the injuries, man, and that's enough to make you want to shy away from New York right there alone. But then you start looking at Atlanta and how they've looked as of late. And for much of the season, it's just hard not to want to get behind the Dream in this one. Looking at these two over their last 5, the Liberty are coming in with the 5th rated offense. They're just 4th from last for defensive rating. The Dream are coming in at just 9th for offensive rating, but I don't think that'll matter as much here against this Liberty team that can't cover a wall with paint right now. New York is hitting the 2nd most above the break threes, while the Dream are hitting at the 3rd highest rate. Atlanta is hitting the 4th most field goals from inside the restricted area, coming in at 6th for shooting percentage from that zone, while the Liberty sit at 1st for shooting percentage inside that restricted area, but they sit at just 8th for field goals made from this zone. Defensively, they're allowing the 4th highest shooting percentage and the most made shots from inside the restricted area. The Dream, they're giving up the 5th fewest makes from in here on the season. They're giving them up at the lowest shooting percentage. From above the break, the Dream are allowing the 2nd fewest, the Liberty the fewest. On the year, though, New York is just 9th for 3-point field goals allowed, while the Dream are 1st, giving up the fewest. Looking back in the last 5 games again, though, Atlanta is 2nd for rebounds per game, the Liberty just 9th. The Dream are giving up the 4th fewest offensive rebounds, while the Liberty are allowing the most and the most total rebounds per game as well. Atlanta can definitely capitalize off of that advantage on the glass as well. They sit at 4th for second chance points, and the Liberty are, you guessed it, giving up the most. Now, too much is pointing me towards Atlanta. Too much is pointing me away from New York here. I'm going to lean towards the Dream on the side. For the total, two of their three head-to-heads have hit to the over, but the Dream have hit to seven straight unders now, while the Liberty have only gone over twice over their last 10 games. Now, this line would typically be a little too low for me to want to look towards an under with these two teams, but considering how well each of these teams shoot, man, and the pace at which, New York plays to, but with all the injuries on the New York side, the fact that Atlanta plays to the second slowest pace this year, the defense they'll bring into this one on their home court, I don't know, man. I'm going to lean under looking at this game, but I definitely like the side a lot more than the total. I think that line's pretty sharp here for the total, so probably stay away from that one. Probably look towards the Dream if I play anything in this one. Now, looking at that next game, 3 p.m. tip-off time. Las Vegas Aces taking on the Washington Mystics. Aces are 7.5-point favorites. Total sitting at 160.5. And these Aces, they just keep on rolling. 9 wins in a row now. 11 of their last 12. They've covered in 9 of those 12. They're 23-14 on the year, 18-18 with one push when looking at them against the spread. They're 9-9 at home, both straight up and to the number. The Mystics are on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, right? Back-to-back losses to the lowly Sun and losers of 7 of their last 10. Washington is 16-20 on the year. They're 17-19 against the spread and at home, 10-8 straight up, 8-10 to the number. It's going to be the fourth matchup between these two this year, and despite the direction of these two teams as of late, the Mystics have won the prior two heading into this one. But the thing with that is these Aces aren't the same Aces from that last meeting in early July. Looking at their last 5 games, Vegas is sitting at first for offensive rating, they're fourth for defensive rating, and man, first for net rating, right? They've been playing incredible basketball. Washington, they sit at ninth for offensive rating, eighth for defensive rating, and just 10th for net rating. And now staying in those last 5, Vegas is pulling in the fourth most offensive rebounds and the fourth most total rebounds per game as well. The Mystics are second from last for offensive rebounds, third from last for total rebounds per game. Vegas has scored the second most second chance points on the year. Washington has given up the second fewest on the year, but the fifth most over their last 5 games. Now, the biggest cause for concern here for me, as far as Washington is concerned, man, is their issues with ball control. We've seen them give up the most points off of turnovers over the last 5. The Aces are scoring the second most. The Mystics are turning the ball over at the highest rate this year. I like the Aces here on the spread, man, but I'll definitely not be playing this one. I feel like they'll win this one by double digits, but anytime I start feeling this kind of way about this team, and I try to get behind them, this is typically where they come out and put a dud up, right? So it's a Vegas land, man, but also I'd be cautious here regardless, you know what I mean? Not just off my personal feelings on this team and how how my history has gone betting them. Um, and I can't ever seem to get it right. You know what I mean? If I back the Aces, they come out here and they put up like 50 points and get blown out. If I try to fade them, it's the opposite. They're dominating the other team. So yeah, man, I typically have some trouble calling it with this team. Full disclosure, I'm not even gonna like try to pull any punches here, but like I said, I still would be kind of cautious looking at this one, man. They're on that big winning streak. The Mystics have looked pretty bad here of late, right? And with how wild the WNBA season has gone, man, and kind of how that zigzag theory has really, just proved to fruition here with this season, man. Like I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the Mystics came out and won this game. You know what I mean? Like they shouldn't. The Aces should dominate them. Like I said, they should win by 20 plus. But don't be surprised if Washington keeps this one close. Don't be surprised if they win the game because that's how this season has gone, man. It's been crazy and janky all around. But it's a double revenge spot for Vegas, man. It's screaming them, right? It's screaming them. I just can't get there personally. That's where my lean is. For the total, I truly do. Like I said, man, I think Vegas balls out in this one. So if that's the case, I feel like their defense should be able to wreak havoc on this turnover-prone Mystics offensive attack, man. These two have hit 2 unders in their 3 head-to-head games this year, and each have hit under in their last 2 as well. The Aces are just 8th for pace, Washington 9th. So I'm going to look at an under in this game here. And then our last game on the day, 4 p.m. tip-off time. Man, it's kind of ugly, and it's going to be tough, you know what I mean, to be honest, because you kind of want to fade each of these teams in this spot. We got the Connecticut Sun taking on the Chicago Sky. The Sky are 3.5-point favorites in this one, total sitting at 159.5. But like I said, man, you look at both of these teams situationally, and it's like typically, if they were playing somebody else, you'd want to fade these squads, right? The Sun, they come in on the road for the first of 3 straight, but they've kind of been hot. Can we say that about Connecticut? They've won back-to-back games now coming into this one, doing so for the first time this season. They've won 3 of their last 4. They've covered in 4 of their last 5. So a potential letdown spot? Maybe. But then you got the Sky. They're fresh off of a huge road win over the defending champion Liberty. And sure, man, they're ravished by injuries, but that's a big win for a Chicago team that had come into that one. They had lost 13 of their last 14 games. So also letdown spot for Chicago. It's possible. It's possible. You know what I mean? They've split in their first two head-to-heads this season, with the Sky winning by 12 in Connecticut back in mid-June, and then the Sun got their revenge a little less than 2 weeks ago, winning by 9. That one was also in Connecticut. This one is now in Chicago. The thing about this one is that while both these teams are bottom of the league on the year, let's look at these teams in their last 5, man. The Sky are second from last for offensive rating. The Sun, dead last. Both teams struggling on that offensive end. But defensively, while Chicago is sitting last at 13th, the Sun are sitting at first defensively. They're forcing the most turnovers per game, man. They're scoring the fourth most points off of those turnovers, with the Sky giving up the fourth most turnovers a game. So, not liking that for Chicago, man. Sun are holding opponents to the second lowest shooting percentage from the field, the fifth lowest from deep, and they're giving up the fewest three-pointers per game. Chicago has the advantage on the glass, though. They are scoring the third most second chance points. The Sun sits sixth for second chance points allowed. They live out of the paint offensively, but the Sun are fourth for points allowed from the paint. So I'm going to lean with Connecticut and the points in this one. It opened at 3.5. I see some 2.5s out there too, but I still see some 3.5s available. So looks like it's moving in the direction of the Sun as well. Now, looking at this total, man, I think we see pace in this one, man. And while I think Connecticut keeps this close with their defense, I'm not sure I'd want to look at it under here even still. The Sun are going to want to get out in transition. They're going to want to look to push the tempo off of broken up plays, forced turnovers. So I think we see an over in this one, man. I'd be leaning that way looking at this game. And that is going to wrap us up for the day, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Hope you found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you have not already. And that is going to do it, man. Hope you guys all have a great Saturday. I hope you guys all cash out. I'll see you back tomorrow for the next one.